Welcome to Nevertheless, a show dedicated to organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Today, you will discover how to discern your essence and live powerful.
Hi, this is Nevertheless, the show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. My name is Mark-Mordi. Always a great time to spend bringing this show your way. And I do hope you enjoyed the series on rank breakers. We looked at a number of things in that series, and if you have not listened to the series, I'll suggest that you go to the website. You can go to my website, Mark-Mordi.com, and download, or you can even go to the apps, iTunes, the Play Store, or the podcast store on iTunes and download podcasts from there. So please join me as we begin to grow and do things together. The series on the rank breaker was one series that was very enlightening and fun for me to do. And as the month of February has come to an end and we're moving forward, I'm moving into a brand new series. But before we get into that brand new series, I want to talk to you again about why we call this the Nevertheless Show. This is the Nevertheless Show because, first and foremost, this show does not count out anyone. As long as you have breath in you, by this show you are still in the race, because the only thing that takes you out is that you're no longer alive. That's why we call it the Nevertheless Show, because what it means essentially is that no matter what happens, as long as you're holding on to God, nevertheless, you will be fine. And that will be my first encouragement today as I bring this show your way, especially in this month of March, for you to recognize that it doesn't matter what you face and the things that you are dealing with today. In the end, you can bet that you'll be all right. That is the encouragement that I need, and I believe that you need. So join me and stay with me as I take you into a brand new series that would take you somewhere. Because on the Nevertheless Show, remember, it's a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. And I've told you before that when we talk about organic leadership, we're talking from people who are leading from their core. Whatever they're doing, their services, their businesses, whatever it is they're doing in life, is not built out of skill, but it's built out of calling. So it's something they are doing their best to affect and impact the world by what they've been called to do and by the gifts that heaven is giving them. So that's what all of this is about. My name, again, is Mark-Mordi. It's always a pleasure and an honor to bring this show your way. Please don't go away. We need to take a break. And when we come back, I'll begin to tell you what we're going to be talking about through this month. In the next 5 weeks, we're going to be looking at a series, and I would like to introduce that series to you today. Don't go away. Please stay with me. God bless you.
Are you frustrated and tired of life? Do you feel trapped in life's maze and don't seem to find your way? Or are you passionate about your purpose and destiny and want to find out more? Then get a copy of DNA. DNA, Destiny Navigational Application, is a book written by Mark-Mordi, where she coaches you to distill the answer to the cry of purpose, mandate, and significance. She teaches you how to discern your essence, discover your God-given mandate, deploy power, and demonstrate dominion. Get a copy of Destiny Navigational Application from any bookstore near you, or call 234-813-360-2883, or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order now.
Welcome back. It's still the Nevertheless Show, and my name is Mark-Mordi. I am blessed to be the one that brings this show to you. And on today's show, or through this month of March, we want to bring you a series called the True North Series. The True North Series. True North Series. As I was talking to my team to say this is what we want to talk about this month, and they were saying to me, what's true north? What's true north? And really the idea for this show came to me from a conversation with my husband. And we were talking about something political actually. And he said to me, that we have to find our true north. And that just sparked off something in my mind, and that's how this particular series has been born. So what is your true north, you will ask me? What do I mean by true north? True north, when you are asked to discover or define your true north, essentially what one is saying to you, is that you need to find the place where you receive your orientation, your orienting place. That is your stable place, the place where the needle will hit and you are no longer able to move, the place where you are anchored. Your true north is that part of you where you take off from every time to do the things that you do. And every man and woman ought to know their true north. So this series will be looking at the true north. We want to take a look at the things that help you get to the places that you need to go to. What are they about? How are you able to find your true north? What are the highlights of true northship for me, if you like? What are the things that personally I have heard dear? This is like your compass. Really. So now that you have embraced your superpower, now that you have chosen to live a life that is impactful, now that you've made up your life that your life will count for something, what are those things? Where is that place that you can always come back to rest? And where is that place that you will never leave? What is that thing that is your stable point? Where is that place that in this world that is consistently spinning, where is that place where you find your balance? What weighs you down? What is your weight? What is your anchor? What keeps you standing? What keeps you grounded? Because you can't do this work. You can't live a life of impact without having discovered your true north. It's great to discover your sweet spot, which is now you know what it is that you are supposed to be doing. But I promise you, if you discover your sweet spot and you do not know what or where your true north is, the tendency is you will fall flat on your face or you will not be as effective as you are supposed to be. What am I saying? I'm saying that true north, or the position that is known as a true north, are positions that are defined by beliefs. They are defined by values. They are defined by principles. They are not lived as per perception. They are lived from authentic cause. These are things that everyone knows around you is a no-no. Everybody knows around you, oh, if you mention this thing before Bidemi, she would jump at it. And this other thing, oh no, it doesn't matter how you sugarcoat it, she would not be buying. For some people, they will say this is a moral authority, somewhere that you stand in and you are not shifting. I have found in this work that we do that a lot of us, because we want to be popular, we want to reach more people, we want to touch more lives, that's usually our excuse. We water down what it is we've been called to do, or we begin to shift our focus from the things that we've been called to do, or how we've been called to do them, to accommodate the whims and caprices of other people. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. The man who has discovered his true north knows those things that are weights. They can never be taken up. Otherwise, he knows he will float into oblivion. Do you know what your true north is? I was trying to research what are the general principles of true northship. And I found out that one of them is integrity. One of them is discipline. These are regular things that we know we ought to have. But have you not seen a man so talented and so focused, yet very indisciplined, and because of that he crashed and burned? It will tell you that yes, you may have the greatest idea ever, but if you do not know how to remain anchored to something, then you are going to get in trouble very soon. Now the question will be, okay, what are the things I'm supposed to be anchoring on? And to answer that question, I'll take a break. When I come back, I'll tell you what it is that you ought to anchor on, if you want to be that person who has discovered their true north and is living from that place. Please do not go away. Welcome back. We're still looking at the first installment in the series True North. And today we're looking at, okay, what are even your true north? What is your true north? What are the things that comprise your true north? What are those things that are never going to shift concerning you? Yesterday I was in a meeting with one of my ministry partners and sisters, and we were talking about the ministry, and she said we need to have not necessarily an organogram, but an SOP, standard operating procedure or manual, something that tells everyone that this is what we believe, this is how we go, this is where we go from. So that even if someone joins 10 years after today, or someone joins 10 months after today, and I'm not available, and maybe the leadership is not available to say to the person, this is what we stand for, there will be a document that can easily capture for these people, for this new entrants or joiners, what it is that we stand for. Now, in putting together that document, one of the things that I'm sure about is that we have to be very loud about our statement of faith. What do we believe? What is the vision for this place? Who are the kinds of people that we are called to? Because unless we have this defined thoroughly, the tendency is we won't be able to tell another person what it is that we stand for. All that automatically means is that because this is ministry, and usually people come from one ministry into another, the tendency is someone can come with something that is not doctrine, but ideology or principles from another ministry, and try to make them walk where we are. And so when we're talking about true north, this is part of what it is that we're talking about. But before we went on the break, I did say that everyone, I'm sure you want to know, what is it that should comprise my true north? On what should I be anchored? What are the boxes I need to tick if I will get to the place that I need to go? And to begin that, I would say the question will not be what should be my true north. The question should be who should be your true north. You know I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and I make no apologies or excuses for that. It is who I am. It is the reason why I do the things that I do. And so if you ask me from here, who should be your true north? I will say to you, the first step is that you get in a relationship with God. Because for starters, even last month when we're talking about the Rank Breaker series, I did say that a man cannot give what he does not have. And a man has nothing except that which is given to him. And it is the God who's created you and I that has given us all the gift that we distill into products, services, skills, and such like. And that is how we live. So you can't sit here and say, oh, that is my true north. And yet you say it's your true north and you are not anchored on someone. The truth of the matter is you can always tell who someone is anchored on by the way that they act. So it's not even a position of I'm declaring by my mouth that God is my true north. It is a situation where it is that I live by his commandments. I live by his principles. And because I do that, people see me. I don't even need to have a banner saying I'm a Christian. I don't need to be carrying a massive Bible. They just take a look at me and they interact with me for a few minutes or hours, and they can tell that something is different. And that thing is not about character. It is about someone. So if you really want to be anchored properly weighted, so that you are not tossed around by wind, you need to get in a relationship with God. Now, the next question will be, how do we get in this relationship? It's very simple. I do a prayer meeting on Facebook every morning from 5 a.m. Nigerian time or West African time. And I usually close by asking people to give their life to Jesus. And when I do it, I don't go into a lot of preaching. I just simply say to him, Lord Jesus, I believe in my heart and I confess with my mouth that you are the Savior of the world. I therefore come today to accept you as my personal Lord and Savior. Thank you for saving me. Please write my name in the book of life and be Lord and Master of my life from this moment on. Bam! You have it. You are now anchored. It doesn't take ceremonies. It doesn't take bowing before anything. It doesn't take slaughtering any animal. It just takes a profession of faith and a mindset that I will now be submitted to the tenets and principles of this God. So now that you have done that, we need to move forward and talk more about this true north. What is true north? How do I find my balance in a life that is delicate? How do I find my balance in a life that is delicate? One of the things I saw in Luke chapter 13 from verse 6 to 9 is that in Jesus you find not just grace but truth. What I have noticed that a lot of us are doing is we choose not to be weighted and balanced anymore. We choose not to be anchored on anything that is immutable, because we claim that we live in a dispensation of grace. And because we claim that we live in a dispensation of grace, we find that we are constantly shifting and we're constantly changing. Now, is change or evolving isn't a bad thing? Not necessarily. But you see, when you don't have true north, what is going to happen when you don't know what your true north is? What's going to happen is you will move with every fad and every trend. Whatever it is that they say is selling, you will find yourself trying to do it. But those of us who are anchored on someone and that person has become our true north, what usually happens is that we are not flimsy. So we are not whimsical. You don't see us doing this today and tomorrow we say, oh, that no longer wants, and we're doing the other thing. There is something that comes out of finding your true north, and it is called perseverance. Because one of the biggest lies that you can ever buy in is the lie of the devil that says that because you now know what it is that you are doing, that you are supposed to be excellently successful in 2 days. And that's not usually what happens. That's usually not what happens. So if you come into this and you are subjected or submitted, or you've bought into that lie, what is going to happen is you will come into working something that God has called you for a lifetime and expecting it to yield the results in 30 seconds. That is why you find people will come and they will say, God told me to do this. And 16 months later, because it has become tough, because it has not yielded the results that they thought they would see, they give it up and they move to the next thing they have been told will work. But that's not what happens when you discover your true north. When you discover your true north, perseverance is one of the hallmarks that you will find in the life of those people who have discovered their true north. They come at it and then they hit a snag or whatever it is that they hit, and then they go back. They don't go back licking their wounds and saying, I'm not doing anymore. They go back, they take a breather, and they come back again. They say, okay, I'm coming back at it. They go back to God. They ask for fresh strategies. They ask for fresh insights. They talk to people, and then they come back at it. One reason why you must discover your true north, therefore, is so that you can persevere through whatever it is that you need to wade through to get to where you need to go. Another hallmark of true north is that you have to be a person of integrity. These are values that determine where you would go with your life. Years ago, I did a show and I called it, I can't remember what the title was now, but essentially the gist of it was, tell the 3 people or 5 people closest to you to define you using 3 words. And take those 3 words and put them side by side the way you live your life and see whether they capture the value or the essence of who you are. Now, if you say that you have discovered your true north, one of the hallmarks should be integrity. It's sad how you will talk to people, you call upon people, for instance, and you say to them, they claim that they are experts and stuff in this and that and that. And you talk to them, and they don't respond to you because they have not Googled you and they don't know who you are. They never look at anything from surface. They begin to want to become friends with you just simply because they've now checked something. And somebody somewhere, one rating somewhere says you are someone worth being friends with. That does not in any way show someone who is anchored on a level of integrity and is open to recognize that people will come in all shapes, sizes, and races and whatever, but that everyone should stand a chance. So when we're talking about true north, one of the things that make you effective should be that you are a person of integrity. So you want to take a look at your integrity quotient today and ask yourself, does my integrity have the capacity to carry the weight of what God has called me to do? Or will I crash and burn because people would begin to be able to poke holes at, or people will be able to see the gaps in my character, and because of that, they will not want to follow me? As a leaderpreneur, so I talked about being anchoring on the person of God, and then secondly, you must be a person of integrity. Another thing that I know is a hallmark for true north is value, and I mean value for people. You can't discover your true north and excel in it unless you have the capacity to value people. Do you value people? Do you value people? Who do you know, for instance, in your clique that you don't want to deal with? Now, I'm not saying that you have to roll in the mud with everyone, but you must value people. A lot of us have our bottom line wrong. We describe our bottom line in figures and in zeros, when you should describe your bottom line in people. Because no one who has discovered their true north does anything but service by what it is that they know they have and they do. And service is about people. So when you've discovered true north, essentially I'm saying that you can't be selfish. It is people who are not weighted and anchored on anything that are self-centered and selfish. So when we're talking about true north, the question I would ask you is, do you value people? Again, valuing people does not mean that everyone is your buddy and your best friend. It just means that everyone stands a chance with you. Does everyone, irrespective of their age, their status, their race, the color of their skin, does everyone you come across stand a chance with you? My brother does not live in Nigeria, and a fortnight ago, he told me that he was resigning from his job. And I was a bit worried, like, why would you want to resign from a job that you told me obviously that you enjoyed? And he said he was what's the word now? He was treated shabbily because he was black, and the company did nothing about it. And because of that, he's disillusioned with them and he wants to go. And the funny thing is that this boy has skills that are not all over the place. And so a business is going to lose a valuable employee because they've not shown him that they value him. Do you value people? If you do, how do you show it? I'm still talking about true north. I've not shifted because we're still trying to define. All of this episode is to define what true north means. When you are in a marriage situation that says true north, part of the essentials of my true north in marriage is there are things that I discuss only with my spouse. They are not meant for third party. I usually shrink when I see someone come on social media to talk about their spouses, simply because something is not honky-dory at the moment. And when you respond and say, if you don't want to marry him or her again, leave. That's not the case. 3 months down the line, you see them reconciling. But the thing is, we all now know your business. So another hallmark of true north is that the capacity to be confidential. The capacity to be confidential, because it impacts upon how you value people. When you value people, you don't throw their business any and everywhere. I was talking to someone yesterday and we're talking about an organization, and she said to me, this member of the organization usually talks down about other members of that organization. So I am mindful to be careful with that person. Because if she's talking about people that she's known for over 20 years, what is the guarantee that when she gets to talk about me, she will talk about me in the right way? You don't value people. You don't value relationships. That's what it means. Another thing that forms a hallmark for those who have discovered their true north is consistency. Consistency. You don't just rush in and rush out. When you're walking by your true north, the tendency is you will be at the same thing for 10 years and everyone will say to you to give up. But because you are guided by a set of principles, beliefs, and you are anchored on the one who has called you, you listen to them, you say thank you, but you don't do what they have asked you to do. Because you know you're headed somewhere and you want to get there and get there ultimately. Because a lot of us think that success in all of these things have to do with numbers and have to do with fame and have to do with all of those things that you're looking at. Why those things count, but they are not the core of true northship. The core of true northship is that I'm able to persevere and deliver exactly what God has called me to deliver. In Effectual magazine, we have a quote by a man called Kenny G. Smith. And that quote says that a woman is not born a woman. She doesn't become a woman when she marries a man, does dirty laundry and keeps home. A woman becomes a woman when she becomes who God has called her to be. And that quotation is one quotation that I absolutely love. Because it tells me that it's not the number of people that are screaming my name on the streets that make me who I am. It's not the amount of money I have in my bank that makes me who I am. It's not the children that I have that makes me who I am. I become the exact person that God has called me to be, and then I become who I am. Who I am is determined by the parameters that God has set for me. When you have discovered true north, you recognize that you take the definition of your person not from things and not from places you have visited or from degrees that you own, but by becoming the person that God has called you to be. I want to take a break. When I come back, I will run through 2 more things, and then this episode will probably be over because of time. Please don't go away.
In a world filled with many fears and discouragements, life often becomes a burden. For those who know the way, life's just simple. Don't worry, you're not alone on this life's journey, as Bidemi shares powerful insight and principles from her everyday work and life experiences in her book, Nevertheless. Nevertheless is a book designed to encourage and equip you to face life with courage, hope, and determination. Get a copy of Nevertheless from a bookstore near you or call 234-813-360-2883 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order now. I guarantee you will make it nevertheless.
Welcome back. It's still the Nevertheless show, and my name is Bidemi Mark-Mordi. We've been talking about true north, how to discover your true north, recognizing your true north. And the gist is that if you do not know what your true north is, or who your true north is, or what the hallmarks of true north is, then the tendency is you will be in a world that is consistently spinning. You will be spinning with it, which means automatically that you do not have an anchor. And so before we went on the break, I did say that some people think that fame and all the other things that life counts, is what makes you who you are. But I'm saying that what makes you who you are, when everything else is stripped, is who God says you are. The next thing I want to talk to you that is a hallmark for those who have discovered their true north is that their definition of success does not align with the world's definition of success. Success for them, again, is not measured by a scale or measured by a checkbook. Success for them becomes excelling in what God has called them to do. That's why you find those who have discovered their true north that they can stay with the same thing for years on end, simply because God has told them it is possible. And because of that, they continue to push until they get where they need to go. You can't have discovered your true north and be swinging like a pendulum. Today you sell pure water, the next day you sell gari and such on and so on and so forth. Those who discover their true north, that's not how they work. You find them that they are consistent. You find them that they value people. You find them that their definition of success is different. You find them that they are anchored on God Himself. These are the things that make you that man who has discovered his true north. Now, true north for different people would differ. So it's not blanket for everybody. There are similarities, but there are also differences. For someone who has been called to, for instance, who's been blessed with the gift to make money, their true north will be different from me. I've been blessed with the gift of words. So for the person who's been blessed with the capacity to make money, usually you find out that their values revolve around that money and how to use money to make impact. I have been given the gift of words. So everything that I do revolves around how can I use words to make impact. And that's why we publish books. That's why we publish a magazine. That's why we run an online radio station. That's why we are getting ready to launch an online TV channel. We do all of these things because the gifting of the house is words. And words are powerful. So you find that while there are the general traits that I have, and the man who has been called to make money and become a treasurer has. The tendency is that when it comes to the core of what we are doing, even though we have all discovered our true north, or we have both discovered our true north, the details will be different. And so I can never sit here and begin to look at the one who's been called to be a treasurer and say to myself that I'm not doing great work simply because I don't have money to throw around. And that's not to say that I don't do my fair share financially. It just means that that is not my core. So because of that, I will not put myself on a treadmill and be in competition with those who have been called into that lane. My point is this: we all have a true north. And at the base of that true north, the foundation is God. But as we begin to grow our branches, different things begin to matter depending on who we've been called to serve, how we've been called to serve, and with what we've been called to serve. Now, when you understand these things, you find out that people push to know why you do things the way you do them. But essentially, the gist of finding or discovering your true north is not so much about others, but about you, and about the things that cannot be stolen from you, the things that poverty can take from you, the things that wealth cannot take from you, the things that fame cannot take from you, the things that obscurity cannot take from you. What is that thing in your core that no matter what circumstance you chance upon, you will not be shaken? These are extremely important considerations for all of us, because I am tired of seeing shallow people. I am tired of seeing flaky people. I am tired of being one of them. So my decision is that I will discover my true north and no longer be like that. And my encouragement for you is that you make the same commitment. Because unless we do all of these things, the tendencies will not be as effective as we can be. And what is the greatest success that you can have? The greatest success that you can have is that you are effective in what God has called you to. The question is, have you discovered your true north? Now, we've come to the end of our show today. But before we go, I want to tell you that in keeping with the objectives of my true north, there are so many things that we do that come out of this table. And so I want to encourage you to go online. You can go to the App Store or you can go to the Play Store and download the Dukia Radio app. There's usually conversation on and great Christian worship music that you can listen to so that you continue to build on the person that you have called yourself to be. Dukia is spelled Dukia Radio. Dukia Radio. Dukia Radio. That's one of the offerings that I have. And the apps are free. It's absolutely free. And it is run 24 hours every day. So you can be sure that you'll find valuable and enriching content to build you in your inner man for all the other places that you need to go to. It's been fun talking to you today. Remember that beyond discovering your sweet spot, you need to also discover your true north. Sweet spot without true north is a ship without an anchor. And a ship without an anchor is a ship that would drift to places that it did not set out to go. I am sure you have directions, you have goals, you have objectives. There are places you want to reach in your life. And discovering your true north is one of the ways to get there. Thank you so much for joining the show today. I'll see you next week as we continue this series on True North. Next week, we want to look at relationships. I want to look at relationships. What are the myths about relationships that we have heard? And how does understanding relationships help in our capacity, to live from our core and to deliver on what God has called us to do. Thank you so much again. Remember that for each and every one of us, God has deposited something. And if you would embrace that superpower that He's put in you, you will live a purposeful life, and that means you will live a powerful life. I'll see you next week if Jesus tarries. Thank you again, and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nevertheless. For more information and resources, call 0813-360-2883 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com. Don't forget that when you discover your purpose, you will live powerful.